Hello, hope all is well. So the last couple of days I was at Guitar Summit, and it's Europe's biggest show, one of Europe's biggest shows, and I thought I'd do a walkthrough video, just looking at various bits and pieces of gear with general commentary, and I'll be doing some other videos where I interview some builders and some cool bits of gear that I saw, but I thought for the first video it'd just be sort of like a general walkthrough, looking at some cool guitars, like here with Dunwall guitars, from a distance I'm afraid. But then we head down to, I wouldn't say the first floor, but the ground floor, and one of the first sort of highlights where lots of people were gathering, which is the Hapas, Driftwood and Lichtlaerm audio stand. I sort of likened this to like the dark forest almost, because I had this really cool kind of dark kind of vibe to it, and the guitars I think are absolutely awesome. You know, tailor-made for metal is maybe one way of putting it. So there's really nice kind of plain wood finishes on there, and they're super easy to play. I apologize for some of the lighting on this, because I was using my GoPro and sometimes the lighting sort of didn't always work out, but I think you get a good idea of the sort of guitars or nice guitars that we can see on offer here. Here we see the Lichtlaerm Audio Prometheus in all its glory, and I think that's the Buster Oderholm Ashen that they just released over there. So yeah, extended range, Evertune, and very heavy. And here is something that just blew my mind, and it was in the basement actually. So we made a jump here, and you go through this space on the left when you're walking, and it's, I think, Music Productive, obviously with the banner, set this up, and it's a live amp room, so you can book a slot and play through a whole host of amplifiers, or even bass amplifiers. So in this corner alone, I mean, in this room alone, there's a lot of money, but the amount of gear just blew my mind. With NRG here in the corner, there's high watt amps, there's Driftwood amps here again, and well, you can see what we're looking at, but just the amount of amps here on offer, and just walking down into this space was just like, man, I wish I had something like this at home. Just like, oh hey, this is my jam space downstairs. And yeah, you know, there's even a fridge there, so it's like it's fully kitted out. You just wouldn't have to leave. Yeah, Red 7, really cool amps, and yeah, unfortunately I didn't get to play through that much while I was there over the course of 2 full days, because I had so many people that I was meeting and talking to, and also running into while I was there, and YouTubers I've met or through the Facebook group Rock and Metal Amps, Pedals and Gear, and yeah, that kind of took up a lot of time, and also talking with brands as well, because I mean there's so much information that you get, which is really cool to hear about when you're talking to different builders on what they're working on and things like that.
And only one can play, so which is good anyway. Five to 10 minutes.
Yeah, maybe later. Because it's Saturday, it's always a busy day as well.
Right on.
We should have done this yesterday.
And here on the left, next to the Suhr amp, is the 8x12 Behemoth with the LCFR 150 speakers that Daniel made. Wish I could have heard this plugged in, but it was insane to look at, for starters. Nice stack of angles there. And yeah, like I said, like just walking around this room, like it was just mind-boggling. And yeah, if you spent the time and signed up and got a slot, you could play through all these amps at like a decent volume, and that's what some people were doing as well. And everything was, you know, free to kind of like look at, touch, and get up close, and not too personal, but personal enough to get a vibe of the actual gear. And that's what we see here at the other stands that we're going to be looking at. So following on from the Hapas stand that we saw earlier, on that same row there's like Celestion, tube amp doctor, so tubes and things like that. You can see speakers and talk to builders and get more information about the gear that you see online, which is great. And one thing here as well, like you'll see on the left here, there's the Klotz stand here, so you could get cables, and also cables that have been discontinued or recently discontinued, and you could buy them as well, which was really cool. Over here we had the Nooks, I think it was a distributor stand, and he was, I think he had a lot of used guitars that he was selling. Here I see some friends of mine from Luxembourg, which is always cool to see. The GNL Dunlop stand here. I mean, there's a lot of talking and describing what's on screen, but it's just to give you an idea of what you're looking at. And here you'll see one of the things that a lot of these stands, they have load boxes and headphones. So despite the fact that essentially things can get very loud as you're playing through amps, there was always load boxes and headphones to keep that volume down. And I think that differs compared to, say, a NAMM show. I wish I'd been to NAMM at some point, but that apparently is super loud. And yeah, maybe someday. And yeah, Boutiqe amps over there, which are just sick to look at. And Musifacts next door, which is like a really big kind of distributor. And there's Chapman guitars there, Legator. They have Suhr, and it's all together. And as you can see, I'm not the only one sort of guitar centric, just staring at stuff and going, this is nuts, the amount of gear all in one place. And yeah, I head back round here. I don't know why, but like the dark forest calls me. I don't know if that's the right way of putting it. So I head back here over to the Hapas stand, look at a few more guitars again, and also say hello to Daniel, who's at the stand there, as we can see, and talking about some of his amps and new pedals and pedals that he brought to Guitar Summit. Here again you can see with the load boxes and trying stuff out. And we head on upstairs here, and from that initial position where we started, we head on over to the right. And I'll say again, like, the really cool thing here is not only being able to talk to dealers or builders and things like that, is that you can just grab a guitar off the wall, plug it in, and just try it out. Like, there's no sort of like holding back, and even stuff that is really kind of expensive, that's stuff that you could ask about and just try. Like, there was a really open kind of vibe to the place, and it was very kind of chilled out despite the huge amount of people. Like, I'd say more than last year. The Blug amp booth here, you could see, I think it just played, so that was the new upcoming Blug amp X that's there on the floor. And as we continue here, there's smaller builders that, you know, I'd never heard about, and some of the stuff they were making was really crazy. Like over here, Meta guitars. I didn't really stop too much here, as there's so many people and just trying to get through and get a general vibe of what's going on. But it tended to be a mix of either really crazy, kind of almost quirky guitars, and I stopped here to kind of look at one. Like, the design on this is just kind of insane with you know, the finishing and the materials that were used. And it kind of went, for me at least, between your traditional kind of shapes. So there's always like kind of Strats, Tele style guitars, or offset, Les Paul single cut style guitars, and maybe SG double cuts and things like that. So the classic essence and typical guitars that you'd find those on like smaller builders, but like with really interesting specs, or like, you know, like a spin on the traditional or classic sort of guitars. And so we head down now to another part of the lobby, which is in one of the corners. And here was a huge mix of various guitar builders, quite a few well-known ones, of course, and a lot of pedals, pedalboard stuff and things like that. And this is only one small part of the actual exhibit, but it's absolutely huge. I mean, I can't really put into words, or I'll put some stats up. I think that's maybe the best way of of saying how huge this place actually is, and it's all sort of guitar based. If you live in Europe, one of the big sort of expos that we used to have was the Frankfurt Musikmesse, which was great, but the thing there was two huge exhibits. So there'd be like a light and sound for like PAs and well, sound and lights, and next door would be like the Musikmesse with loads of various instruments and amps and things like that. But it would extend all the way to, say, even violins, contrabass, classical instruments, pianos, and also guitars, basses and things like that. And the thing here, which is amazing, is it's all pretty much centralized around, well, mainly guitar. There's obviously bass there as well, but you get to see all these cool sort of builders, brands and stuff you've never seen before, and things that you'd really like to see in Europe as well. And that's something that I'll be covering a bit later on this week. So I got to see Balaguer guitars, which I didn't film here because, I mean, they're right up on the last floor, and I think a lot of people didn't find their booth, unfortunately. So I made a separate video with a quick interview with them and the booth itself, so you get a closer look at the few guitars that they brought along with them. And so here you get an idea of how much was going on in this one alley, I'd say. You know, Lundgren pickups here, and that's, you know, the builder himself. He's there, and you can talk to him and find out more. You know, Ola Strandberg, who's there, Strandberg guitars, Aristides just next door. It's just, yeah, that's all on one alley, and just I think it's hard to imagine, like, as if you walk into this really big place, like almost like the craziest guitar shop in the world, and you've got direct contact with Philex there. Why not? And yeah, you get to just talk to the person that built either the instrument, the bit of gear that you might be interested in, which is, I think, is amazing. And here, while rounding the corner on this long kind of alleyway, I had this kind of fun interaction on the way back up here. It's like, yeah, there's Danish Pete and Lee from Andertons. So on the way back, actually here, just a quick stop. What happened was, while I was filming this walkthrough and walking through Guitar Summit and filming, they were doing the same thing, and yeah, I had to stop and say hello because I've been to the ACM in Guildford. I studied there way back when, so I've been to Andertons loads of times back in the day. And obviously, I've been watching their channel for years, so to meet them in person was, yeah, it was really awesome, and I got to thank them for like all the videos and kind of work that they've put over the years, not only to the channel, into the shop, of course, and what they do. So going on from here, we'll see, you know, along this alleyway, there's people coming out of the door here on the right. So amidst all this guitar madness, there's this like concert hall right in the middle. And I head in here, and this was in the middle of the day, so I think this was like maybe 3 or 4 in the afternoon, I'm not sure. And yeah, there was an acoustic concert, and yeah, great set of pipes. Obviously, there's not loads of people here, like in the evening after the expo closes, which is around 7. People gather here and can watch shows. So like on the first night, there was Mike Dawes, Tommy Emmanuel, Jared James Nichols, and on the second day I think there's Matteo Mancuso and others that played. And all that is free when you have your ticket for the expo. Sorry for the banding on the camera here, but with the light, and it's a GoPro that I'm using to do these videos, it's sometimes kind of, yeah, messed about when certain light sources were hitting it directly, so that's the effect on the camera there. And we come across Lee and Danish Pete again, and one hell of a camera setup to film what they're doing. And yeah, I jokingly said that to them when I ran into them. Yeah, I'm kind of doing the same thing as you guys, but on a much tighter budget. So yeah, maybe one day I'll get a rig like that to sort of film stuff. And yeah, this is the Ibanez booth. The loads of people are waiting because Nita Strauss was there and doing a signing. So I couldn't really get any closer to the booth without trying to run through people. So yeah, we just quickly walked past here to give you more of an idea of what's going on and other stands that were there. So all in that one row we had like Ibanez, Blackstar, Schecter and Yamaha. And in this central part, one of the nicest looking stands I think, which was from Goldo, and they had some custom picked Duesenberg guitars, which really fit the color here, but the presentation here was just kind of yeah, nuts. I mean, you had this sort of ethereal kind of floating nature to parts and things like that, which was really cool to see. And all these really nice Duesenberg guitars, which yeah, you could just pick up off the wall, plug into the setup they had there, which would be with headphones, so either an amp or some kind of modeling setup into headphones, and you could just yeah, check out a guitar and play them. You didn't have to try and find a vendor or something. You could literally just pick stuff up off the wall, which was amazing. And going on from here, just after them, more Duesenberg guitars. I had to stop because yeah, it just looked so nice. And right here we have ESP guitars, and this is close to the entrance as well, I might add. And so here we head downstairs, so there's a ground floor as well with lots and lots of stuff as well. So there's a lot of cool stuff down here as well, and maybe smaller booths in general. So there's some in-ear manufacturers here, and there's Neural DSP over there, which were there last year as well. So it's cool to see the Nano Cortex in person, which is absolutely tiny. And here on the left, you'll see there's either an artist talk or something along those lines. And everyone has these cool, really cool wireless headphones while they're talking on stage. This was the Bad Cat booth, which was really cool. Got to talk to Matt later on Sunday, and got to know a lot about various amps and some really cool upcoming stuff. So keep your eye out on Bad Cat. I can't talk about it here, but there's some extremely cool news coming in the next couple of months, and I think specifically for NAMM next year. But you'll hear about that soon enough. And yeah, this alleyway goes on, and we go to this whole other section of the summit as well, and it's a whole entire room. And this place is huge as well. I'm not sure if the dimensions really come across, but through walking you discover all these places that, I haven't been here yet. And it's yeah, it takes loads of time if you really want to check out each stand individually, or try and find stuff that you're kind of interested in and check out. And here again is like another area where there's talks and artist talks and things like that. And again, it's like, people are there with wireless headphones, and you can't hear people that are talking on stage from a distance, because yeah, obviously there's people walking about and talking. It's like a silent stage, and it really keeps the volume down, I think, because if all these places had, small amps where people were playing through, or PAs where people were talking, I think the noise level would be really kind of hard to deal with. So there's a Guitar Summit, or at least a decent enough walkthrough of almost everything. I will say I missed out. There's this entire floor right at the top where it's pretty much all acoustics, and I only really got to that much later, and because of that I didn't really include that here. I mean, it's this absolutely huge area upstairs, and admittedly I'm a lot more interested in electric guitars, pedals, effects, amps and things, so that's why I didn't really film that part. But we will get to yeah, some of the electric guitars and some other cool stuff that was right on the top floor. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people kind of missed that because it was tucked away. But hopefully, yeah, through some of the videos, I'll be able to give at least some exposure and show you some really cool stuff that I saw, yeah, upstairs. Yeah, and last thing, a huge thanks to Sven, a really good friend of mine. We went last year and it was absolutely amazing, so we had to go again this year. And we spent, yeah, 3 nights there in total and 2 full days at Guitar Summit. And yeah, really cool experience. And yeah, I'm looking forward to next year. And I hope to see you there as well. You know, if you see me walking around there, if you're there, feel free to, like, you know, stop me, talk, whatever. Always happy to talk about gear and all the kind of nerdy stuff. Well, not so nerdy stuff, depending on how you feel, but yeah. Hope to see you guys there at some point, because I think it's a really cool expo. So keep an eye out on the channel this week. I'll do my best to post them this week, because I think the interest in Guitar Summit is going to be in the next kind of week or so. And there'll be a lot of info and videos going out from a lot of people on Guitar Summit. So yeah, hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Take care.